From that, as Ghana prepares for the upcoming 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections, most parties participating have already begun their campaigns, especially the NDC and MPP, also Movement for Change and the New Force and more. Today we will be looking at what some of the other political parties have been doing ahead of the elections, and we are joined via Zoom by the presidential candidate for the All People's Congress, Dr. Hassan Ayariga. I'm informed that he's not on, but we've also been joined on phone by Dr. Samuel Wolanyo Mensah. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon and good afternoon to comrade Ghanaians.
Right. As the election draws near, do you think your party has touched base with Ghanaians enough?
Exactly. I believe coming events cast their shadows ahead, and election itself is a process, not an event, and so it's developing our visions. So this vision has been developed back, and ever since we've been working on it and visiting Ghanaians, educating the public, and also sensitizing communities about the need for us to collectively develop this country. And I believe that this message has gone down well with Ghanaians.
Right. And how confident are you? What has been your message to Ghanaians? Let's start with that.
Well, we have 4 thematic areas: looking at domestication, looking at industrialization, commercialization, and globalization, and coupled with good governance and fighting corruption, and also fighting environmental degradation, job creation, among others. And I believe that these are few challenges that the Ghanaians normally faced. And we also encourage them that our government will continue to ensure that values and virtues and policies and programs that even the previous governments have rolled out from the post-independence era will be revisited. And we believe that one of the major policies that we're trying to roll out is to reform the prison service into more productive center for the country to achieve food security, water security, and also to achieve some level of national stability. Now we want to relocate the prison service from towns and cities to farmlands, and we engage these prisoners, especially those that are fit to work. And once they work, each day they will be paid a wage, if it's 20 Ghana cedis. And so by the time they finish their prison terms, they have sizable amount of money to start life all over. We also realize that in fighting corruption is becoming an institutional challenge. So what we wanted to do is that most of the major national policies and programs, especially the national projects, will be given to the military to roll out, especially the road constructions and others, so that we can have value for money, and also we can be able to retain most of our monies within the local economy. And so these are issues that we wanted to tackle in our government. We also look at the size of government being too harsh on Ghanaians. The cost of running this country becomes too expensive. So we want to go with 40 ministers maximum. And we also look at the era of cancelling the Council of State, scrapping it and replacing it with the upper chamber, with the House of Chiefs being the leading component. And I believe that that will really give us a sense of national belonging and add to social cohesiveness. We also look at issues of overdependency on foreign goods. So we wanted to really develop the various potentials in the various communities in order for Ghanaian businesses to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area and be able to produce for the teeming demand for the African market. And I believe that the one we succeeded in that definitely more jobs will be created, more people will be employed, unemployment rate will be reduced, crime rate will be reduced, and definitely government will have more to tax, and that government will definitely rakes in more revenue for socio-economic development. So I believe basically and fundamentally this is what we want to do.
Right, right. You mentioned industrialization and corruption as part of the things you want to tackle. It has been a reoccurring theme, especially in all the presidential candidates. What will make your own stand apart, especially the fight against corruption?
Well, it's easy, but I believe that you need to use two approaches. One has to do with leadership, and the other has to do with political will. Now, in my first 200 days in office, I want to establish the anti-corruption task force. This anti-corruption task force will coordinate all the activities of the anti-corruption institutions, like the UOCO, like the Special Prosecutor's Office, like the Police CID Unit, Auditor Generals, Accountant Generals, and definitely not forgetting the State Attorney. And if you're able to coordinate the activities, then we'll be able to look at the loopholes, develop their capacities to fight corruption for us.
Right.
If you look at the amount of money that have been misappropriated, misapplied, and mismanaged, looking at the Auditor General's report alone, it's more than the monies we are seeking from IMF and World Bank. And so if the government has given the powers to the Controller and Accountant Generals and the Auditor Generals to surcharge, so why don't we have the political will to surcharge people who have embezzled state funds, and so that we'll be able to recoup these monies into the consolidated fund for national development. So that is the approach we'll be using. And so anybody who has engaged, the past government for the past 20 years, we are going to re-audit every major national transactions for the past 20 years.
Right. And
those who have been found culpable will be arraigned before a competent court of jurisdictions to face the full rigors of the law.
Right. Dr. Mensah, I'm very grateful for your time. I'm looking forward to having this conversation at another time. But then we have been joined by, we will be joined shortly by Dr. Hassan Ayariga to have the same conversation, but then we spoke to Dr. Samuel Wolanyo Mensah, who is the spokesperson for the Grand Coalition of Ghana. The Grand Coalition of Ghana is looking forward to become the next administrative government of Ghana. So I understand Dr. Ayariga has joined us via Zoom for the conversation, via phone for this conversation. Good afternoon, Dr. Ayariga, and I'm grateful for your time. Just as I asked Dr. Mensah, do you feel you've touched base with Ghanaians enough?
Good afternoon to you, and then to your viewers and your listeners. I think that over the past few months, we, the APC, we've been campaigning. So I'm shocked to hear you say it's the NDC and the MPP that are campaigning. We've been to the Upper East. We are done with the Upper East. We've come back to Kumasi. We've gone to Northern Region. And your people have occupied, telecasted most of our activities. But in any case, we have touched base with many of Ghanaians. The Ghanaians are fed up with the NDC and the MPP and yearning for a third force to emerge for them to vote. But the point is that we in the other political parties are doing our best, but Ghanaians are not seeing what we are doing. And the media too are telecasting more of the MPP and the NDC stories rather than our stories.
Right.
When we bring policies of building Ghana, we are being ignored. And then talking about a 24-hour economy, talking about digitalization, when we have the best policies that can transform Ghana. We believe in mindset change. The Ghanaian people must first of all change their mindset. There must be some kind of revolution of mindset change. If we do not change our mindset, we cannot transform Ghana. No matter who you put there, we'll have a problem. Then we also trust that before we can change our mindset, we also have to believe in the Ghanaian first, that whatever we do in this country, we must first consider the Ghanaian citizen as number one citizen, not foreigners as our number one citizen, not doing things based on foreign diplomatic treaties. No, we must believe that Ghana is for Ghanaians, and we must build our own country. In a nutshell, the APC believes in an inclusive governance system where we think that everybody, no matter your political stand, religious stand or your background. We should give the best Ghanaians the opportunity to build our country. We should not be giving positions to people based on their political affiliation or believing in winner takes it all kind of political syndrome. Until we begin to believe that all of us have what it takes to build Mother Ghana, we will fail. Then for us in the APC, our biggest policy is a national lockdown, economic lockdown. We spend $1.2 billion each year importing rice. Meanwhile, we can farm rice in this country. We spend $700 million importing oil. Meanwhile, we can produce oil using coconut, shea butter, soya bean, palm oil, granules. Yet we import all these things into this country and making our city depreciate drastically to the level it is today. We can farm tomatoes, but we spend over $450 million each year importing fresh tomatoes and canned tomatoes. Why are we talking about job creation when we can create jobs with an economic lockdown? When we lock down this country, we will begin to produce and become independent, economically independent, devoid of importing foodstuff and other accessories into Ghana. But we fail to do that, yet we spend billions of dollars every year in the importation of goods. And then we are crying that there are no jobs. And that is where our policy of production, manufacturing, and industrialization. That is the 24-hour economy we have been talking about, the 3-shift system. The first shift is for production. Second shift is manufacturing. Third shift is industrialization. So 8 hours in the morning we produce. 8 hours in the afternoon we are manufacturing. 8 hours in the evening we are industrializing. We will need to work 24 hours round the clock to come out of dependency. We cannot be sleeping 16 hours every day and work 8 hours a day and expect to have economic independence. So Ghana needs APC, Ghana needs Hassan Ayariga, and I think that going forward, Ghanaians should forget the NDC and the MPP.
Right.
They will tell you that if they vote Hassan Ayariga, he will win. Who said so? You vote Hassan Ayariga and the APC and see whether the NDC or the MPP can win any election in this country.
Right.
Unless we go for a second round.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ayariga. That was Dr. Hassan Ayariga of the APC. We'll be back with more election-related stories. Right.